Thinking about making a move to the Middle Tennessee area, and maybe you're trying to get a grasp on all the different neighborhoods and what you need to know? If so, then stay tuned, because coming up in today's video, it is part 2 of my 3-part Nashville Neighborhoods series. So you're gonna wanna stay tuned. We are talking about all of the neighborhoods just west of downtown Nashville. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin Martin, and I am a local Nashville real estate agent and founder of the Caitlin Martin team, powered by Weichert Realtors, the Andrews Group. I specialize in working with savvy sellers who want to sell right and sell smart, as well as working with out-of-staters looking to relocate to the Middle Tennessee area. Now, if this is your first time stopping by my channel, thank you so much. Please feel free to click subscribe down below so that you are notified anytime I release new video content, which is every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Also, please feel free to head on over and follow me on Instagram at Caitlin Martin Realtor and the team Instagram at the Caitlin Martin Team, where we are talking all things Nashville real estate and lifestyle and just what you need to know. So in today's video, we are tackling part 2 of the Nashville neighborhoods. In part 1, if you missed that, feel free to click up here, go watch that one, and then you can come back to this one. In part 1, we really tackled what's in and around the heart of downtown Nashville plus East Nashville. Now in today's video, we are going to be talking about several neighborhoods, including Sylvan Park, West End, the Nations. We're looking at those areas. In fact, let's first go take a look at the map so you can get an idea of the different places we're talking about, and then we're going to dive on in so that you get an idea of just what you can expect real estate wise in these different communities and what they have to offer. Okay, so you may remember this map from part 1 if you watched, whereas in part 1 we tackled East Nashville, Germantown, downtown, the Gulch, and Sobro. So in today's video, we're really going to be starting to look west of the heart of downtown Nashville. So really the Demonbreun Midtown area, Elliston Place, West End, Sylvan Park, the Nations. Here's the thing that I'm going to preface, because in part 3 we're going to be tackling everything that's pretty much south. So as you can see like Hillsboro Village, Belmont Boulevard, 12 South, Melrose, Berry Hill, all of those plus Green Hills. So when you see the bigger bubbles, that is going to indicate a bigger neighborhood. Some of these tinier bubbles, they really are just a smaller community, and they can kind of all sort of run in together. Now, you know, think places like Sylvan Park, the Nations, those have very distinct outlines in terms of where those neighborhoods are. Whereas a lot of times if we're looking like Demonbreun, Midtown, even starting into West End, that can start to bleed together along with like that Music Row and Edge Hill. So those are just some things to keep in mind as we go through this, but we are going to be talking about the different kinds of real estate that you can expect to find in each of these areas. Again, I know if you are just starting your search, it can feel really overwhelming just trying to get an orientation of the city. So hopefully this map you find really helpful, and of course the information as we start talking about, you know, what you can find in each of the different parts of town. So I hope taking a look at that map was helpful. So the first areas that we're going to start to talk about is going to be the Demonbreun Midtown area. So if you're actually looking at downtown, if you're looking at a map, you have Broadway, which is where all the honky tonks are, and then running parallel to that, just to the south of it, is going to be Demonbreun. Now I know that if you're looking at it, and even a GPS system, I believe, still calls it Demonbreun. That's not how you pronounce it, it's Demonbreun. So those two roads actually run parallel to one another. Broadway is going to, as you get out of the heart of downtown Nashville, Broadway actually turns into West End Avenue. And Demonbreun, as it comes through, it ends up changing to Division Street. So if we're talking about the Demonbreun Midtown area, so we're really going to be talking about what is going to be just outside of that downtown loop. So you actually have Interstate 40 that kind of splits through downtown, and it goes around, it really kind of splits like downtown from the Midtown area. And so it can get really congested with traffic. But, you know, if we're talking about part 1, where we talked about the Gulch and downtown, all of that's gonna fall inside that loop. Now we're talking about just on the other side. So Demonbreun, you're going to actually find, Demonbreun Midtown, you're going to find a lot. The predominant style of housing is going to be condos and apartments for rent. So this is still going to be a very lively area to live. And of course, it's going to be great because you not only have access to the Midtown area, which is where you're going to find a lot of the bars and nightlife that locals go to versus going to Broadway, but you do have close proximity to still get downtown for concerts and sporting events. So it really is a great, convenient place to live. But again, because you're still very much in that city living, you are going to predominantly find condos that you can purchase as well as apartments for rent. Now, if you're curious about a couple of the condo buildings where you actually can purchase, you have the Adelicia, which when the Adelicia was brand new, which was like around 2012, I believe, or sometime right around there. It was a brand new building when I moved to town in 2013. It is a beautiful condo building. It has private security. This is a really great option if you are looking for somewhere that's going to be close to all the action, but you still have the higher end finishes and that privacy and security factors. You have the Adelicia. You also have the Rhythm and the Bristol. So the Bristol is actually going to be one that's going to be right there in the heart of Midtown. Bristol is actually going to be between where Division Street comes down as well as West End. It's kind of sandwiched right in there between the two. It's within walking distance to those Midtown bars. Now, with the Bristol, you actually can get in the Bristol for under $400,000 for a 1-bed, 1-bath. But if you're looking at some of those other buildings where you can purchase, again, you're looking between 1 and 2 bedrooms generally with 1 to 1.5, 2 bathrooms. You're really going to be starting to look in terms of price point. 400 is really going to be around those 1 bedrooms, but then of course it does scale up because you can find penthouses and those more luxury condos in the Midtown area. So they do actually scale up to more than 2.1 million. So again, you can kind of get a variety of condos. And again, they're really good about making sure that there's some sort of noise protection because again, you are right there in the middle of the nightlife. But the nice thing is, yes, you've got a lot of nightlife, but you also have close proximity to getting on the interstate, to getting around, and you also just have the convenience of everything that is located right there around the heart of downtown Nashville. Okay, so as we start to move a little bit further west, as we continue down Weston Avenue, we're actually going to talk about Weston and Elliston Place. So again, this is going to be just outside of Midtown. So you're getting a little further away, but you're still within 2 or so miles from the heart of downtown Nashville. So again, in terms of convenience, it is a fantastic location. Now, in the Weston area, Elliston Place area, you're gonna find, again, condos. There's also some really beautiful brownstone type townhomes that are really lovely. And then you can find some single family homes as well. Of course, in these areas, because they are close to downtown, again, you do have places to rent in these areas, but you do have purchase opportunities as well. And you can find some more luxury high-end properties in this part of town. Now in the Weston Elliston Place area, you can find condos. You can find a couple needles in the haystack where you can find them around that $300,000 price point. But again, you're looking at 1 bed, 1 bath. However, condos can actually quickly increase in price. You're really looking more around that $700,000 price point in general for starting, for whether it's a condo or a townhome in that area, and then it can quickly scale up to around $1 million. So you can certainly get a luxury property in that area. And again, have the convenience of being close to downtown Nashville. Now, we also did mention that you can find single family homes, and a lot of them are going to carry more of a really cute craftsman style to them. Now, of course, this can vary a little bit here and there, but you can find these really beautiful properties, single family homes in and around, that West End area. Now, to give you an idea on pricing, a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot house goes right around that $900,000 mark. Now, if you're looking for a 5-bed house, 4+ baths around that 5,000 square foot mark, that's going to be really in your upper tier. And so a house similar to those measurements is going to go anywhere from around 2.9 to about 3.65. So, these are, again, beautiful homes that have been updated. They are done to the nines. But again, if you are wanting those larger single family homes in and around the Weston area, they certainly are going to come at a premium. Okay, now we're going to, if you're taking a look at the Weston area, we're actually going to venture just a little bit south to this area called Hillsboro Village. So Hillsboro Village, it is a neighborhood. So it's actually gonna be wedged between West End Avenue and Hillsboro Road. Hillsboro Village is really popular because it's very walkable to Vandy Hospital and Vanderbilt University, as well as being close to Belmont too. So this is a popular area. You also have great walkability to the Hillsboro Village shopping area, which is where you're going to find the famous Pancake Pantry. You've also got a lot of really cute shops and restaurants all right there in the Hillsboro Village shopping area. Now, Hillsboro Village is really interesting because you can find some really beautifully redone older homes, more of that Tudor style, cottage style. But then what we've also seen happen in Hillsboro Village is where developers are coming in. If it's a smaller, older home, which again, the homes that are still standing, they go back a ways. But again, those that are still standing, many of them have had nice renovations. But those that were maybe beyond the help of a good reno, you'll see that these homes were knocked down and now these big, beautiful new construction homes are being put on these lots. And again, it's going to come at a bit of a premium just because of the location to not just Vandy, but again, to getting anywhere in Nashville, in the heart of downtown Nashville, plus that close proximity to the Hillsboro Village shopping area. So let's actually talk about what that real estate is going to cost. So when it comes to Hillsboro Village, if you are looking at one of the existing original homes, maybe it's got some renovations, it's really, really hard to find anything under the $1 million price point. However, there can be some homes which currently there actually are two, and they're on the market in that $700,000 range. Okay, now let's talk about Sylvan Park. I absolutely love Sylvan Park. In fact, when I first moved to town, I lived in Sylvan Park for a month while I waited for my apartment on Weston Avenue to be ready. I absolutely loved living in these locations. I loved the convenience of everything. Sylvan Park is just a really neat, beautiful community because what we've talked about so far in this video, we've talked about these different communities, but a lot of them outside of really Hillsboro Village, a lot of them you're still living more of that condo city living life. The best part about Sylvan Park is that you really get that more traditional neighborhood feel, but again, great location, great proximity. So Sylvan Park is going to be located just a little bit off of West End Avenue. You actually take West End to Murphy Road. Murphy Road will take you right on in to Sylvan Park. So Sylvan Park is neat for a couple of reasons. You've got a lot of really, really beautiful homes in Sylvan Park, but outside of that, you do have the McCabe Golf Course that's right there within walking distance, but there is a little strip on Murphy Road in Sylvan Park where you have several cute restaurants that you can enjoy. And there's several different kinds, from Martin's Barbecue to an Italian place to a taco place. So it just makes it a really great walkable neighborhood that has its own little community and its own little bit of shops and restaurants right there. Plus you have the the amenity of the golf course, again, all right there. And Sylvan Park, just a quick drive out Murphy Road, you're gonna be able to jump right on Interstate 440, which is gonna be able to get you around the city wherever you need to go. So in Sylvan Park, you're gonna predominantly find single family homes, HPRs, and you can find some condos as well. In fact, I actually lived in an older condo building when I first lived in Sylvan Park. So if you did not watch part one, you may be wondering what in the heck an HPR is. HPR is a horizontal property regime. It's basically a fancy way to say a tall and skinny. But here's the thing, you can have an attached or detached. But another thing to know about HPRs is it basically means there are two homes on one property. You split property taxes. Sometimes they can be attached and be side by side, sometimes detached, one in front of the other. So you can find that in Sylvan Park, and sometimes you may not fully know if it's an HPR. Like if you're looking at it, especially if it's detached, it can look like a single family home. But that's something that an MLS listing would be able to tell you as to whether it's considered a single family home or an HPR. So you are gonna have that. Again, in Sylvan Park, you're going to find a lot of beautiful new builds. You're also going to find stunning craftsman style type homes. But Sylvan Park, it has become increasingly popular, which has driven up price points in Sylvan Park. Now, Sylvan Park has become increasingly popular, and especially with the new builds, that's helped drive up pricing in Sylvan Park. Now, you can get in under that $1 million price point. For around $740,000, you can get a 2-bed, 2-bath house for around that 1,500 square feet. And again, I feel like I say that and people are gonna balk at that. Believe me, I get it, it sounds crazy, but you can get in under that $1 million price point. However, if we're looking at some of those newer construction homes or those that are only a few years old, if we're looking at the average for the Sylvan Park area, you're really looking at a house that's about 4 beds, 3 to 4 baths, anywhere between that 3,700 to 4,000 square feet mark. And that's really gonna be in that price point between about 1.65 and about 1.8. Now, we do see homes on the market in Sylvan Park that eclipse the $2 million mark. But if we're looking at what the overall average is in Sylvan Park, you're really sitting around that 1.65 to 1.8 range. But that $700,000, $750,000 price point is gonna get you a 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot house. Okay, so now we're gonna finish up this part 2 talking about the Nations. So the Nations is one of the hottest, newer neighborhoods in and around the Nashville area. So if we're taking a look at that map again, you can see where Sylvan Park is, and then Interstate 40 is going to divide Sylvan Park and the Nations. So the Nations, a lot of the street names are going to be after states in the US. So the Nations is great because, again, you're going to have walkability because it's got a lot of its own shops, restaurants, coffee houses, breweries, even a brewery with a dog park. So the Nations is an up and coming area. A lot of people are gravitating towards that area. When we're talking about real estate in the Nations, you're really talking about either small single family homes that have been there since like the 40s. Truly, they're going to be, small houses, less than 1,000 square feet. And a lot of times those homes are not in great livable condition. Some of them are, certainly, but others, they're selling it more for the land value in the Nations because the Nations has just exploded in growth in recent years. So you do have some of those smaller homes. But then when it comes to the predominant style of house, you're going to find HPRs and single family homes. And a lot of times in the Nations, it's going to be really hard to distinguish whether it's an HPR or whether it's a single family home, just because their style can look very, very similar, especially if they're detached properties. In the Nations, you're not really going to find a lot of yard space. So whether you're an HPR or whether you're a single family home, you're really looking at far less than 1/4 of an acre. Now, some of these homes, whether they are HPRs or whether they are single family homes, they're gonna have some sort of type of garage. Now, not all, some will have a detached garage, and it's not even so much a full garage structure as it is walls, a roof, and a garage door, but it's not fully enclosed. It's not its own structure. So you can find that. Now, you can find homes that do have its own attached garage, but again, you're really going to find a lot of street parking and driveway parking happening in the Nations. But again, a lot of times people are trading that because they love the walkability of their neighborhood. Now, if we're talking about housing, a lot of times you're really going to be looking between that 3-bed to 4-bed type of house. And a lot of times that square footage is going to be around that 23 to 27, maybe 3,000 square feet. A lot of times these homes are not going to be super big. So a lot of times, whether you're looking at HPRs or single family homes, you're really going to be looking between those 3 to 4 beds, and you're really going to be looking at square footage between 23 to 2,600 square feet. So not super big by any means. Now, whether it's the HPR or whether it's a single family home, with those, you're really going to be looking at an entry price point of around $600, $650. And then of course they can scale up to being around more of like that $850 plus, especially if they're new construction, because like I mentioned earlier, we are seeing a lot of new builds happening in the Nations. So again, in the Nations, you are going to have the opportunity for both an existing home, if that's the route you want to go, or you also have the opportunity for new construction, just because it has been growing so much. And again, people are really flocking there because you're really only about a 12-minute drive to downtown. But again, it's got its own great community, so you do get that separation from downtown while you still get the walkability that a lot of people can desire in a neighborhood that's closer to the heart of downtown Nashville. So I hope this video was helpful. Again, this is just part 2. I will have part 3 coming out shortly, where we are going to be talking more about Green Hills, 12 South, the Belmont area, WeHo area. So we're going to be diving into that in part 3. Now, if you have any questions about these various neighborhoods, or you are thinking about making a move to the Middle Tennessee area, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would absolutely love to help you. We specialize in helping out-of-staters relocate to the Middle Tennessee area. If you're ready to start that conversation, you can actually click the link down below and go ahead and book a Zoom discovery call with me, where we can see if we are a fit and talk more about your moving and your needs. If you're not ready for that just yet, that is okay too, because I do have a free Nashville relocation guide down below, chock full of so much information that you could possibly want to know. So feel free to click that and download that guide as well. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My name is Caitlin Martin. I'll see you next time.